Have you ever noticed how loud your mind gets the moment the world gets quiet? Silence should feel peaceful, but for most of us, it's the moment our inner critic finally speaks. And the truth is, many of us have lived so long with that voice that we don't even realize it's not our own. The philosopher Rumi said, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." But if we actually listened to our inner voice, would we call it wise? Would we call it kind? Or would we finally realize something important, something I'll reveal shortly, about where that voice really comes from? Your inner voice feels personal, but it's actually inherited. It's shaped by memories, emotions, old fears and beliefs you never consciously chose. Carl Jung warned, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Most people live under the influence of a voice formed by the past, not the present, by other people's expectations, not their own truth. And here's the part most people don't know. This voice is not fixed. It was learned, which means it can be unlearned and transformed. But first we have to understand how it was built. This is where the story takes a turn. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself how negative self-talk forms? Negative self-talk has three origins, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. 1. Childhood conditioning. Many of us grew up in environments shaped by pressure, criticism, or emotional silence. The home teaches us our first language of worth, even when no words are spoken. Psychologist Alice Miller reminds us, "What is not acknowledged cannot be healed." When your feelings were dismissed, when mistakes were met with punishment instead of guidance, or when love felt conditional, a silent blueprint was created inside you. Your mind learned to survive by overanalyzing, overperforming, or shutting down. That voice you call your inner critic, it's often not yours. It's an echo, a recycled soundtrack of unspoken expectations, withheld affection, or impossible standards from the past. You didn't choose this voice, but now as an adult, you have the power to question it, soften it, and rewrite the narrative it keeps repeating. 2. Society and comparison. Kierkegaard wrote, "Once you label me, you negate me." He said this long before social media, yet it feels more true now than ever. Today we're labeled everywhere, by culture, by trends, by algorithms, by the silent pressure of watching everyone else's best moments on display. In a world obsessed with comparison, identity becomes a performance. You're measured by metrics, judged by moments, and defined by snapshots that don't even tell a full story. Slowly, those external voices become internal ones. Your inner voice starts to echo what society projects. You're behind. You're not enough. You should be more by now. You should look like this, live like that, achieve what they achieved. And without realizing it, you begin to wear labels that were never yours, stitched onto you by other people's expectations and filtered realities. But here's the truth. Labels shrink you. Comparison reduces you. And none of it reflects the full, complicated, beautiful depth of who you actually are. You are not a category. You are not a metric. You are not a label. And the moment you realize that, your inner voice finally has room to become your own. 3. Past pain. Your brain remembers emotional pain more vividly than joy, not because it wants to punish you, but because it believes it's protecting you. Pain becomes a warning system, a map of where not to go again. But here's the hidden truth most people never notice. Protection and self-sabotage often wear the same face. The brain says, "Don't try again. Remember how that felt?" Don't trust. Remember what happened last time? Don't speak up. Remember the silence you were met with. What originally kept you safe slowly becomes the very thing holding you back. Your inner voice stops being a guardian and becomes a jailer. Now here's the twist, the part most people miss. The moment you identify where that voice came from, you also discover that it isn't you. It's a memory speaking, a fear echoing, a ghost from a chapter you've already survived. And once you see that clearly, everything can begin to change. Because the next part shows you exactly how to break that pattern and what happens when the inner critic finally loses its power. Transformation begins with recognition, and most people don't realize their inner critic is speaking until it's already in control. Here are 4 signs it's running the show. 1. Instant self-blame. Before you even understand the situation, you assume you're wrong. 2. Constant comparison. Your self-worth rises and falls based on someone else's highlight reel. 3. Replaying mistakes. You relive moments that ended hours, days, or even years ago. 4. Extreme language. You hear always, never, no one, everyone. Aaron Beck called these cognitive distortions, thoughts that feel true but aren't. But here's the breakthrough. Once you can hear these distortions, you step into what Viktor Frankl called the space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you reclaim your power. Once you reclaim that power, the next thing to do is to use that power to transform your inner voice. This is where the shift happens. You don't transform your inner voice by forcing positivity. You transform it through truth, awareness, and gentle correction. Here are the tools. 1. Label the voice. When negativity arises, say, "That's fear. That's old conditioning." Naming it separates you from it. 2. The mindful pause. Inhale slowly, exhale slowly. This calms the nervous system and quiets the critic. Buddha said your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your unguarded thoughts. Mindfulness is how you disarm that enemy. 3. Compassionate correction. Not fake positivity, truthful rebalancing. Instead of, "I always fail," try, "I made a mistake, and I can learn from it." Kristen Neff calls this treating yourself like someone worth caring for. 4. Journaling the patterns. Write down repeating thoughts. Seeing them on paper removes their power and reveals their origin. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Journaling is how you choose the color. Your inner voice shapes your entire inner world. But the most important truth is this: the voice in your mind is not your destiny. It is your programming. And you, not your past, not your fears, get to rewrite it. This is Life Lessons Archive. If this message spoke to you, consider liking, sharing, or subscribing. Your support helps us create more content that guides you back home to yourself.